You're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my indie hustle. I'm going to be cool with everyone. And I'm going to get by with my skills and the fact that like I bring a mysterious good energy to all my encounters. And that's the vibe I get from like watching you for so long. Would you say that's accurate? And how's the Bay influenced you as an artist? Yo, it's Hatchet Chat
with Lars and Snax.
Your Juggalo homies talking Hatchet tracks.
There's Hatchet beats
and Hatchet raps. The whole catalog's packed
full of classic gems, and we talk about them all on Hatchet Chat. Whoop whoop.
All right, friends, welcome to Hatchet Chat. I've got a homie from the Bay who I've known for a very long time, and he's done a lot of stuff in the Juggalo community. But what's really interesting about this dude is he's kind of carved his own lane and done his own thing and repped the Bay for years. So welcome to the show, Kung Fu Vampire. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Welcome.
Yeah. Oh, that's tight. Yo, look at that. That's tight.
Tight.
So, Snax, you've seen this guy live twice, right? On what tours?
Sir. At least twice, because I feel like I've seen him on tours, and then I think I've seen him at the Gathering at least once. But, you know, the live show speaks for itself, legendary as is the vast discography. You got some couple of tours coming up, in the near future. But yeah, this is when I first seen you in 2010 on the Slaughterhouse tour. You signed it and everything. This is a copy of Dead Sexy. So it's an honor to have you on the show, Kung Fu.
Thank you, man. Shout out Worcester, Mass for being one of the birthplaces and homes of the wicked shit, man. You know what I mean? Homes of the Juggalos, you know?
Hell yeah.
That's one of the towns that Jay has talked a lot about, right? Like the love there. Why do you think that is more than Boston proper being such a clown town?
So anybody listening to this, don't judge. This is just my own view of why I think that. I think Boston tends to be a bigger city, college town kind of thing. And they have a ton of Juggalos, but I think Worcester is in a more centralized place for the big city folks, the rural folks, the people from different parts of New England can get there and meet in the middle. And I think they take a lot of pride. Worcester takes a lot of pride in the Juggalo community. And it's just always been, we all go out there and just, it's huge crowds at the Palladium. It's called Palladium, right?
Yep.
And it's just, I don't know, man, something about Worcester is just an energy that's unmatched.
That's dope.
It is, dude. And I lived like right outside of Worcester for 2 years, and it's the Palladium. Those shows at the Palladium, pretty much like every ICP and Psychopathic tour was coming through there for a while. You guys, Tech N9ne, and it's the only pit that I think I've been in that actually rivals the Gathering, because you know what I mean. The shows are so intense there, but it's tight. And you're right, like it kind of has this, because I was pretty close to Boston too, but I don't know if it's just like the size or the streets getting in and out of, but it was like I was always just felt like it was more accessible in a lot of ways. And I met way more Juggalos there than I ever did Boston. So shout out Worcester.
That's what's up. So let's talk about Black Heart Machine, because you've been dropping hella stuff, and that's your latest one, right?
Yeah, came out last summer. Yep.
And you're doing shows with Tech. You're doing the Cali 420 tour with Tech, right? Like you're going up the West Coast.
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about your relationship with Tech, how you met him, and like what that tour is going to be like. Because I know you worked with him before, right?
Yeah. So the Tech relationship is very interesting because back in 06, 05, 04, someone in my area, one of my friends, he actually would give me a burned CD of Tech N9ne, right? He gave me a burned CD, and he was like, yo, you remind me of this guy, right? And he would always say that. And he's like, you remind me of this guy, dude. It's like fast rapping and real interesting and this, that, and the other. And because of the name, I was guilty of something people have been doing to me. I was a little turned off. Not because it's a bad name, but during that era, 04, 06, being from the Bay Area and LA and California, all this rap was like Mac 10, M80, AK9, 9mm, Uzi, Tech N9ne, right? And I thought he was like a cookie cutter, not him, the name was a cookie cutter like Bay gangster rapper. So I never would listen to the burnt CD. I'm always like, there's so much of this. AK9A, this, and I like a lot of that stuff now. But at the time, it was so flooded. Everybody had a gun name, so I brushed it off. And then one time when I was moving into my new house, I had put all my CDs into my iTunes, and I was listening to, and this song came on that was really, I was like, what is this? I ran upstairs, and it was Tech N9ne. It was GHB. They want another one. It was just this really trip hop druggy song, and right then and there I was like, oh, this guy's weird. This is the guy my friend kept telling me about, right? So I ended up meeting him right after that at a show, and we had San Jose Dave, this promoter, as this bridge gap. He had saw me, San Jose Dave saw me, remembered me from when I was a little kid rapper. Remember, I started at 14, so I started this thing young. And he goes, oh my God, you know that I'm the promoter. I was the first person to bring Tech N9ne out here, all this stuff. He called Travis right away and introduced them to Kung Fu Vampire, sent them my CDs. And in fact, Travis had a really strong opinion of me. That was kind of good and bad, right? And right away I connected with Tech as a friend, and he'd been inviting me on his bus since like 07, 08 to come party and hang out. I've never asked anything from him. We just always partied. And he really liked my music, and he said, hey, man, I'm sorry I haven't gotten you a verse or gotten you on something, but I want to get you on something. And for years in interviews, he would drop my name as somebody he thought was unique and cool. And we just developed a friendship over the years. Then we landed on the set together for E40 Zombie with Brother Lynch Hung. And I was on the All Sixes and Sevens tour on a couple dates, San Francisco, LA, Sacramento, and then we've been friends ever since, man. You know what I mean? And our tours had collided in Canada. We did a show together there, and we did another tour that collided in Canada, and we ended up partying. I mean, it's just all this stuff has happened, and we've just remained friends. That's all our relationship's been, friends. And he's been in multiple videos of mine, and he's part of the Red Box story that we'll get into later. That's a big part of what I do. And we've just developed a friendship, man. It's not, it's just, he's my friend. And so when my brother One Ton, shout out One Ton, that's Tech N9ne's tour manager, brought me out for the Cali tour last April, we just connected and had a beautiful time. It was just me and Tech on that tour. So this year it's Tech, myself, and Mayday. And here we are in 2024 touring together after, 16 years of friendship. It's just flown by.
That's dope, man. I mean, speaking of like the Worcester thing, you're hitting interesting towns in Cali that are like Arcata, like places that people don't play a lot on tour, which I think is cool because there are a lot of like great hip hop fans in that area. Like, what's it like playing Humboldt in the North Coast?
So I took a huge break in Humboldt. I played again because of my boy One Ton in 2012. We did the tour with Potluck. He brought me out there, and it was great. Good vibe, foggy, waking up in a foggy town and having brunch in this like hippie kind of weed town, right? Not kind of, it's a weed town. So that was cool. And then I played there one other time, and I don't remember it too much. I think we were drinking whiskey the whole time, and it was confusing. And then last year, the energy was crazy. I mean, just a mixture of hippies, street dudes, beautiful women. People came dressed like circus characters and clowns. I mean, it was insane. Maybe you guys saw it, but there was a viral video going around of a guy who got on stage during Tech N9ne's set, went to do a backflip, and the security caught him mid backflip, sat him back down. He was upside down, sat him back down, and gently sat him in the crowd. It was the most professional, coolest thing you'd ever seen. And that was in Humboldt last year. So it was a party. It was a rager. We're kicking this tour off in Humboldt. A lot of people don't know Humboldt, Arcata, Humboldt, same thing. Yeah, it's something special.
That's what's up, man. Okay, so let's talk about the Red Box. Let's talk about that, because you touched on that, if you're ready.
I'm going to give a condensed version and just say this, because a lot of people have been gnawing away at me for some final answers on it. In 2012, we introduced it. There's a lot of little Easter eggs around it that gets passed around from person to person, rapper to rapper. Women will do anything to get that box. It holds powers in that box that can create and bring monsters to life. It can bring ghosts out in photo shoots. It can do things that are remarkable. Tech N9ne has passed the box to futuristic. I've passed the box to Tech N9ne. Lexa Hexmaster has gotten the box. X-Rated has passed the box to me. Early 1900s, the box was stolen. It was used. This is all stuff in these videos. So the story of the box is being told out of order. Now we're on 12 years since the introduction, and we're going to finalize it this year is the hopes. And then we will reveal the order of the box, and there's going to be a documentary that we're working on the crowdfunding for right now, where we're going to have this documentary about Kung Fu Vampire, the story of the box, and then we're going to elaborate further on the finale of what was in the box the whole time.
That's so dope. Well, I can't wait for the documentary, man. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, we're
Very
actually
cool.
going to be on a call after this to go over. I picked the director and producer team to do this because I've shot a movie with them where I play a lead, supporting lead role in. It's not out yet, but it's a horror movie in which I play a spicy, zesty mortician. And yeah, and so they were just so fun to work with, man. Beyond exciting to work with, and they were down to earth and easy to work with. And so we've got our team now. Now it's just about putting it together and interviewing people. Everybody, you might actually get an interview for this since you do know me and you're part of my history, but it's going to be bandmates, people I worked with, my mentor, Tech N9ne. I'm going to be interviewing all these people involved in my career.
That's dope, man. That's really cool. I mean, what's interesting specific and Snax, I know I'm coming with all the questions and I'll let you take the next one.
It's all good, brother. No, this is great.
It's like interesting to me that like there's not a lot of dudes from the Bay who have done a lot of stuff with the Juggalo and the Tech N9ne world and crossed over so seamlessly like you have, like stuff with Mars, like all that stuff. And it's just interesting that you have this, you kind of manifested all this. You're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my indie hustle. I'm going to be cool with everyone. And I'm going to get by with my skills and the fact that like I bring a mysterious good energy to all my encounters. And that's the vibe I get from like watching you for so long. Would you say that's accurate? And how's the Bay influenced you as an artist?
It's, man, like my style comes, a lot of what I do comes from nightmares, dreams, and very, very early over-ambitious aspirations. That's a lot of what I do. It's a lot of what shapes who I am and why, being from the Bay, I don't have a Bay sound, look, feel, or anything. The part of me that's like the Bay that a lot of people outside or Juggalos or other people don't see because they don't know is the pimp culture. So the flamboyant culture, you see me with pink glasses on. This is an ode to what? Stunner shades, right? I still wear stunner shades, but they're my own style. They're not what Mac Dre was wearing. It's just what I like. You know what I mean? The way I talk, obviously, if you talk to me for a half hour, you're like, this guy's from Oakland or San Jose or some shit, right? People, when I go other places, I don't think I have an accent. I'll go to Louisville, Kentucky, and they're like, yo, bro, where are you from? Are you from Oakland? Where are you from? You know what I mean? So people know when we say certain stuff, right, where you're from or whatever. I'm born and raised in a Mexican culture city with pimp culture, E40, Mac Dre, the Jacka as our gods, Mr. Fab, Coog Nut, Drew Down, the fur coats, the big glasses, all that type of stuff. That's one of the things that is just so deeply ingrained in me that pops up later now. But those early childhood things were Danny Elfman meets NWA. That was what I wanted to bring to the table. I wanted to bring Edward Scissorhands meets Busta Rhymes. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to bring orchestral, gothic, big horns, big strings, bum, 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 ba-da-dum, bum, bum, right? I wanted to bring that operatic sound to my kind of harder gangster side edge of hip hop. We were never a soft group my group before Kung Fu Vampire was always hard edged. You know, we were always hard edged. We come from different backgrounds that are not wealthy, not piss poor. It's kind of in between with a little sprinkle, you know. And for me, those early ambitions of mixing gangster rap and orchestral sounds was what was natural and organic for me. That was the most authentic thing. And that's what created Goth-Hop, Gothic hip hop, which is a genre that I coined and now is much bigger than me. And people don't know that I'm the person who actually kind of created that Goth-Hop, Gothic hip hop sound. I think a lot of people just now are calling it that, where it's like the Little Xans, Little Peep, and some of these, who I think is a great artist. I thought Little Peep was amazing. But this emo kind of Gothic rap sound, I actually created that sound and was doing it years and years and years ago. And everybody just said, you're a straight weirdo, bro. Like, that's how I got coined. You're a straight weirdo. We don't fuck with you. You know what I mean? But I had to dig and gnaw and gnaw and gnaw to get people to like my stuff. And I just kept doing my own sound. And then that gnawing away, someone finally saw the iCount video, sent it, Juggalo saw it, and they said, whoa, you're weird like us. We fuck with you. We love you, right? And that's kind of how this world became. It's so authentically integrated into their world. I never pandered. I never tried to appeal to them. In fact, the second I became famous in the Juggalo world, I stopped painting. So for anybody who would ever question my authenticity, I would be selling a shit ton more records if I continued to bald my head and paint my face. So I just stay authentic to me. Once I met Juggalos, I said, I didn't know there was a whole group of people who painted their face. I'm going to let them do their thing because mine came from my mind. So that whole sound that I have, I'm from the Bay. I'm born and raised in San Jose. You know, I'm heavily ingrained in the Latino culture, but I just don't do that necessarily with my music. It's just, I just do whatever I feel like doing. A little funk, a little pimp culture, a little gangster, a little horror, Gothic, whatever you want to call it. I just keep doing whatever feels right. If people like it, cool. If they don't like it, that's cool. I'm going to stay authentic.
And that's what's so interesting because, like, you talked about Lil Peep and the emo rap. Like, emo really is a fragmentation of post-punk music, which, like, Bauhaus and the goth stuff is too. It's just different things of the same tree. And it's always been interesting to me how they talk a lot about how a lot of Mexican-American young people love the Smiths and Morrissey. Like, that's
Cholo goth, bro. Cholo goth.
It's like a whole thing. And it's like interesting to me, like how it's all the same tree, but it's all these people who did hip hop their own way. And it's that element of hip hop is about being true to yourself. And you've done that. It's interesting hearing like you never pandered. You just got embraced by those worlds for being real. And that's cool. That's the only way to do it. And that's, I think, like the better nerdcore rappers have done that too, or the better like rappers in any underground scene. You might be a little weird, but if you stay true to yourself, you have longevity. And you have the 20th anniversary of Bloodbath Beyond on vinyl dropping. Like it's like 20 years plus, right? It's crazy.
20 years plus. Yeah, it just dropped a couple months ago. And I was so heart-worn, shocked at how much people supported that project. And actually, it was so hard to do vinyl. You know, if you've done vinyl, it's very hard to redo the graphics, you have to remaster a vinyl if you want it to sound good on record. You can't master the same music for CD. I put so much money and time into the vinyl. You have to buy separate packages. You can't use packages from the post office. That doesn't work. You have to get separate packaging, padding, sleeves. I'm signing and numbering each one. The plant was hard to deal with. It was 4 months. It was shipped from overseas. It was shipped to New York. New York did the graphics. Like, that vinyl means so much to me, and to have so many people buy it, support it has been great. It's not a moneymaker. It's about just getting this cool thing in people's hands. And yeah, this 20-year anniversary thing, dude, it's lovely, you know? And one thing I will say about Juggalos and just general people, one thing about humans that's deeply ingrained in us is we can sniff out inauthenticity. It's just something we all have. We know when someone's not being authentic. You can just tell, whether you admit it, whether you don't, doesn't matter if they're likable. In your mind, you go, I can tell that person's full of shit. This is not their real them. And that's the thing that I never wanted to feel that, because I said, look, if I'm going to make weird rap, if I'm going to make my own style, if I'm going to be futuristic and do these EDM goth hip hop tracks, I at least want to be able to sleep at night and my conscience be secured, because I don't think this is a moneymaker for me. So I at least want to feel good about myself. Every once in a blue moon, some hater ass local rapper from Michigan, Lansing, Michigan or somewhere will say, oh man, this guy panders to Juggalos. I went to his concert, I saw Juggalos. It's like, dude, if you understood, that's not what pandering means. Pandering is when you're purposely trying to do things to appease or bring someone in. You're being fake about it. I'm just me, and I'm blessed to have them as a fan base. I'm blessed to be a part of their thing. I'm grateful. I care more about that fan base than my other fan bases. I hate to admit it, because they're the ones that have shown me the most love. They're the ones that show up at the concert, and they're the ones that I've had the greatest conversations with. So the authenticity has been the most important. And yeah, maybe one day I'll go back to shaving my head. Maybe when I get a little older and wrinkly and ugly, I'll just start painting my face again to hide that shit. I don't know. I just want to do what feels good. And to speak to your thing about Bauhaus, it's kind of makes sense that the only music that I love and listen to is 80s pop and synth pop and new wave. So, my playlist is Howard Jones and David Byrne and the Talking Heads and David Bowie and Kajagoogoo and Duran Duran and Tears for Fears and New Order. That's my playlist. That's what I listen to all the time. I've turned my daughter onto it. We're all about that 80s in here. You know what I mean? And so I'm hoping to even integrate that back and actually do some new wave meets hip hop in the future. Shout out Action Paxton and Jazz Mafia, Uriah Duffy, Kevin, Adam. They are the ones who did the music on the title track, Blackheart Machine. That's Jazz Mafia.
Cool.
So what I'm hoping to do is with them recreate my favorite 10 or 15 new wave 80s songs and recreate them with a live band and some hip hop verses and me on the choruses, etc. Right, and kind of bring these songs to life.
And that's who Action Paxton is, who's opening for you this summer, right?
No, he's my drummer.
He's touring with you this summer.
I just try to slip his name in now, like wherever I can, just put his name on there. Even though he's in my band, he's been in my band 15 years. But I can put his name in, I can do what I want if I put his name in there. You know what I mean?
That's tight.
Yeah, he's my drummer. He programmed our light show. He's badass. He's a huge part. Kung Fu Vampire is 65% me, 35% him. You know what I'm saying? So he's Kung Fu Vampire.
Yeah, dude, that's so tight, man. And that goes to your authenticity, doing stuff because you're interested and passionate about it. That new wave cover album sounds fresh, man. I can't wait for that. And because people are multifaceted people, so I think when you're going to be more authentic, you have a much better chance of being versatile coming from your different interests, even if they might not be what the algorithm wants most or this or that. Like, you're going to connect with fans if it's something you truly care about. And you do such a good job at not, pigeonholing yourself to one aesthetic or one sound or one theme. And there's a lot of wisdom in your music in addition to the gangster stuff, which kind of goes back to your name and general aesthetic that Lars and I wanted to ask you about, because I'm at least a huge old school martial arts fan. So was the idea of mixing like the kung fu, Eastern wisdom flavor with vampire and horror elements, was that like inspired by any of those old school like horror kung fu movies like Mr. Vampire and stuff at all?
Wow, you brought out Mr. Vampire. So it was the chicken before the egg, actually. I didn't know about any of those until after we formed the band. And then right. I found out about Mr. Vampire, Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. You know about that one?
I haven't seen it, but I can picture the cover.
Dude, can I just tell you and Lars, that's the Kung Fu Vampire movie.
Okay.
That's the one. Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, Peter Cushing, okay? I believe. Please don't nobody get mad at me. It's been a long time. Pretty sure it's Peter Cushing. So I was a gymnast. I was a pro gymnast, elite level gymnast. That was part of my background. I had done some wrestling. I actually got kicked off the wrestling team and not allowed to wrestle because I actually picked someone up over my head and threw them the very first competition, my very first match. I picked
Ultimate
someone up and
Warrior
threw 'em.
style.
Well, I was 118 pounds and I was a gymnast. I was super strong. And the kids I was fighting were really small guys. You know, they were small guys. They were 118, 120 pounds. So I picked someone up and threw them. And they were like, never again. And then there was a meeting with my gym coach and others saying, hey, this guy is a pro athlete, can't be joining the wrestling team and shit like that. That's ridiculous. And it just wasn't fair. So I said, well, can I bump up a different weight class? And they wouldn't let me fight the higher weight class either. So I didn't do PE. I didn't do wrestling or anything. I was not allowed to do any of that in high school. So I went home early. I did Kung Fu classes, taught gymnastics, and did gymnastics up until I was 21. And so I loved Kung Fu, the movies first, before I actually started practicing Kung Fu. And so I had all the Iron Monkey, you know, all the old classic good Drunken Master movies, all the Donnie Yen movies. I love Jet Li, Donnie Yen, right? All these guys. And then once we started Kung Fu Vampire, I dove into those Kung Fu Vampire-esque movies. I was a little bummed, to be honest, that there was a kind of a genre of Kung Fu Vampire movies. Not really, but there was a little bit of that hopping zombie, you know, zombie vampire Kung Fu movies. It was never big. It was never a thing, really. But I was a little bummed because me and my friends actually came up with the Kung Fu Vampire concept out of thin air. So to find out that there was movies, I was like, okay, well, there was only really one or two, which was great. But I don't think any were called. I think there is one called Kung Fu Vampire, and then Kung Fu Vampire Killers came out a little after I formed, or around the time I formed, and it's super cheesy.
Interesting. I had no idea about the cinematic mashup, but I'm glad you put me onto it.
So crazy.
Yeah.
You could probably handle one or two of them, bro, and you're going to be like, all right, I'm done with this ridiculousness. It's so ridiculous. Talk about background video, though. Like, if you're at a show, if you're at like a show and they're playing a Kung Fu Vampire movie, oh yeah, it's lit. It's lit.
For sure.
But as far as sitting down with popcorn and being like, let's watch a masterpiece, like, that's not going to happen, you know?
Okay, so after you were doing this for so long, what brought you to the ICP? Like, how did they discover you? Was it through tech or just your YouTube stuff popping off?
Hey, so my first introduction to Juggalos goes like this, and the Juggalos are going to love this, you're going to love this. I'm standing in a Metro PCS parking lot in West San Jose. And I noticed prior to standing there, and I started selling my Bloodbath Beyond CDs through MySpace and CD Baby and stuff to people with Missouri, Ohio, Michigan, Worcester, Detroit addresses. I'm from Cali. I've never been out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I never even traveled there. I never even been there. And I'm getting these orders that are officially way more than here. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting them out there. And some of them, when I look at their page, was the juggling ringmaster, the juggalo this, the dancing this, clown face ninja that. You know, right? I'm not an idiot. I'm getting the theme. I'm like, oh, it's trippy. So I'm standing there at Metro PCS, and back in like 08, 09, juggalos were very edgy. They were very rough around the edges. They were very like punk rock. You know what I'm saying? And some of them still are. But they were very, and I seen the CRX. I'll never forget it to this day. CRX pulled up. Chick with the pink mohawk, tattooed. She had Juggalette across the top of her window. And I go, hey, can I ask you something? I was like on a phone call too. Like I was just out there waiting for my turn or something. I go, what does Juggalette mean? And she goes, if you don't already know, you don't need to know. And she just kept walking.
Oh, shoot.
And I was like, okay, girl. I was like, attitude, right? I thought it was funny. And I looked on her car, and she actually had symbols like this, you know, stickers on her car, right? She had the Wraith and I think a couple other things like stickers or whatever, right? And then just shortly after that, I get a call from George at Psychopathic, and he's like, hey, man, Isham's trying to come through. Isham and Nadis are trying to, you know, Mastermind are trying to come through on a tour. I heard you run the venue. And I actually ran the Avalon at the same time I was running the Zen Lounge where I met you that you didn't realize I met you, right? So I said, yeah, I got it. And I looked up his music. My friend's like, yo, that's not us. Those guys are great. You guys would be like, boom. You know what I'm saying? Because he's more my musical sound style than even ICP and stuff, right? That was more like Gothic, kind of heavy. You know, he was hardcore rap. We ended up linking up and we did a 5-city tour with Isham in 2009. Because I had the venue, we linked, connected, and that's when Mars called me. And Mars called me and goes, hey, I'm Mars. Hey, this is early 2009. He goes, I'm Mars. I heard you're throwing the Isham show and you're running the tour, because we kind of put the Cali tour to Arizona together for Isham and Mastermind and us. So I ended up going out with them and doing a tour in 2009, early 2009. I think June 2009. And then now I've got face painted people at the shows. Now they're in the front row. I'm like, whoa, these are those Juggalos I was hearing about. That's dope. Right after that, we turn around and do another tour with Project Born, who you know very well, and Mars and myself and B-Side.
Wow.
We go out and do a quick little run, and that took us outside of the state, right? Big old entourage, just I'm in the gown, I'm in the full face, pay everything. Then I get back to my house and I'm setting goals, right? One of my goals is to have my music in a horror movie. One is to act in a movie, one is to go on a major tour, and one is to release a music video. I just had those goals on the whiteboard. I hadn't done any of that. I never had a music video. And we had been a band 9 years, right? And released the I Count video after that tour. It was pretty major. It was done at Zen Lounge, by the way, some of it. Twisted saw it. In particular, Monoxide saw it at Psychopathic office, stood up, and what I was told is he stood up and went, hey, does anybody know how to get a hold of the Kung Fu Vampire? This guy is the shit. We want to bring him on tour. George said, yeah, he actually books the venue. I just met him through Isham, blah, blah, blah. They called me because they're in Detroit. They're 3 hours ahead. These fools called me at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning. And George goes, and mind you, I had conversations with George now. He goes, hey, man, what are you doing? He's like, have you ever heard of Twisted? I go, I've heard of them. Yeah, I've seen the picture. They're like an ICP band, right? And he goes, yeah, man. He goes, what are you doing from February to April 2010, right?
Wow.
We're talking at Thanksgiving 2009. He says, what are you doing February through April? I go, going on tour with Twisted. He goes, yup. He goes, we're going to pay you this amount of money. You're going to go on with us. We're bringing a guy named Blaze, and it's going to be great. I was like, awesome. Sold my mutual fund, sold my stock, sold everything I could, bought a van, bought a trailer, got them both wrapped, bought all the merch, repressed Dead Sexy, the album you guys have right there in your hand, got ready. I flew out to New York for the first date. They all drove the van and trailer out. We got staff shirts. We're loaded with merch. I meet those guys. They're like, thank you for coming on the tour. I come around the corner, full face paint. My hands are painted. I'm in the emperor gown. I come around the curtain in Buffalo. There's 1,700 faces painted. And I'd never seen that in my life. I was like, what the hell? I start rapping and the crowd's going crazy. Within 2 songs, there's a mosh pit for the rest of the set. And Blaze ended up not on the tour, and it ended up being Potluck. Because Blaze had to record some album. And so I ended up becoming great friends with Potluck ever since. And that was my real introduction to this world. And it just was, I was just part of the family from there on out.
What a great intro.
Awesome.
And it's like that manifestation of like putting your goals out there, being prepared, right? Like being serious about taking it legit. And like, that's a lesson. That whole positive mental attitude, PMA, like Bad Brains say, if you believe it's going to happen, it does. You know, so like, I love that story, man. I didn't know.
You got to combine quality. If you combine quality, authenticity, running already, when the train comes by, you got to already be running. You can't, you know, even a hobo knows how to jump and get on that train, right? You got to already kind of sprint and be, you know, or you're not getting on. You got to be ready. You got to be authentic. You got to understand the game a little bit. And just, and like you said, just be ready and be ready to sell your mutual fund. The only investment I had, I sold it. And I knew how important this was to make sure I wasn't going too far into debt up for the tour, right? Which I did do, of course. And we just fell in love with this crowd and everything. And By the time I did the next tour, I was already done painting. And that was the Slaughterhouse Tour of 2010. And by the time summer 2010 came, I was out on my own headlining tour, and I brought Mars and Liquid Assassin. And it was my full band again. We had the full band then. And I already was stopped painting. And then by 2011, I had slicked back hair with the contact still, and I was more in my street wear. And ever since then, I never painted again. And I wanted to respect what they already had in place. Because when I was painting, I was like, I'm the only one who paints. Like, nobody paints. You know what I'm saying? This is tight. And then, boom, there's a whole crowd that paints. Now, it was different. Obviously, mine's more all pale with the, a little black in the contacts. But it was too, in my mind, it was too similar to what Juggalos were already doing. And I wanted to respect that. And honestly, I stopped painting so I could spend more time with the fans coming to the show. Instead of putting face paint on, taking it off afterwards, which was the hard part, actually. And then I'd be done with it. I'd come out and everybody'd be gone. And I'm like, this is stupid, man. They're all waiting there for me. Let me just be me, raw me. And if they still like me, then they really like me. You know what I mean? And that's really why I stopped painting, man. I want to hang out with people when I'm at the shows.
That's cool.
That is cool, dude. And that's one thing that has always stood out to me about you, man. Like, I remember the Mighty Death Pop tour, which you also opened up for. Worcester, Mass. Again, it's a huge lineup wrapped around the Palladium. And you just came out of your bus just to kick it with the Juggalos in the lineup. Like, you were just literally going down and talking with Juggalos and stuff. And I think that goes a long way in building a dedicated following, which you have. And one thing that we wanted to ask you, like, the industry, of course, has changed so much over the past decade. What are some of the ways that you think has been for the better and for the worst? And in general, do you think it's more artist friendly or not so much?
I think most of it is worse, but it's also only because I thrive on authenticity and the art. That is kind of dwindled, right? It's about conflict. It's about pandering. It's about shit talking. It's about beef. Whatever people can do to jump on a subject instead of just making great music and people going, man, did you hear that new Ritz album? Did you hear that new? Phenomenal. Instead, it's like, oh, he's beefing with so-and-so and talking shit. I got to get this album and get behind him. Let's get behind him, right? It's like almost nothing is real because of online. Nothing, the way people look, the filters, everything is so fake. And so being a good musician that makes great videos, that's not really going to work for you. I'm lucky enough that I got in early enough that people still value that. And Juggalos are one of the groups that are one of the last dying groups of people that still value quality of music, quality of artistry. They still like that. They don't care what's going on. They're like, hey, I like this guy. I like this sound. As time goes on, that's going to dwindle more even amongst Juggalos. They're going to be told what's cool, what's hot, who's confrontational, and they're not going to care about the people who are dope. And they're missing out on a lot of dope artists because of that. The good side of what I do like about what's going on is you can upload a song right now, get a cover, pick an audience, probably, pay for an ad to target that audience, and boom, now you're in there, right? So there's the good side of it. If you want to be a TikTok dancer and have a bunch of really creative ways to do dances and integrate your song into it, without actually promoting anything, and then the song blows up, and here you are with a fan base now because 50,000 people dance to your song on TikTok. So there is some great opportunities for people to flourish, and people who are socially awkward can flourish. Never do a show, never do anything. We're still trying to do things futuristically with whatever the next thing is. We're trying to do it as long as it's something I'm down to be authentic about. I'm not down to do TikTok dances or every trend that jumps out. You'll never see me doing stuff like that, although I should. I don't. But I think there's a lot of opportunity to make money and have fun doing what you love. And for us, we're going to keep doing the shows, touching people, shaking hands in person, hugging, sweating, bringing people up on stage. That's what we want to do. We want to bring that live show to people. I rap and I sing on stage. There's no lip syncing or rapping over my track. So I think there's good and bad. I think there's a little bit more bad because people don't know what's real and who's real. They just believe what they want and believe what's being shown to them. You know, I mean, this whole time this could be me in a filter. You know, you don't even know. So that's the negative. But the positive is there's a vast open world for you to be creative and do what you love.
You don't need gatekeepers to expose your music to people. Like, we can all amplify each other's message. And I think you mentioned potluck. I think that's an interesting example. So I remember El Jefe from NoFX produced them back in Eureka, right? Like, doing stuff in the punk community, like people working together regionally in an authentic way will always continue. And you just have to be able to put it out there and make those connections, which you're really good at doing. And I don't think that will ever go away. I hope it doesn't just become an AI bot that's the Juggalo bot or whatever. I mean, like, I don't know.
I could be better. Honestly, I know my weaknesses. There's a lot of things I'm slipping on and I'm weak about. And it's my own struggle, man. I don't want to pander. I like to be authentic and organic. And it's something I need to let go of a little bit. Just stop being so much like that. There's a way to be authentic and have a little business mind to it. You know, with my 80s stuff, I was loving the full colored neon 80s stuff. And I pushed that on people because I liked it. You know, I probably could sell more if I just do, you know, evil shit. You know what I mean? But I do like what you said about regional sounds. I think that's something I hope people stick to. Detroit has a sound. Esham, ICP, MNE, Strange down in Missouri is a sound that hit the pistol back in the money, wrap it back. You know, they got their chopper speeds with Twista and Tech, right? You got a sound in SoCal with D-Gap and Cottonmouth Kings and the Long Beach Dub All-Stars. You've got that hippie motocross surfer kind of, that's a style. You know what I mean? And I hope we can continue to do that. Like the Bay, we out here in the Bay, we have Norteño rap in San Jose, homeboy rap. That's what we have. Latin rap, right? Lowrider shit for the homies. We have mob shit. You know what that mob shit is? E40. You know, there's SOB RBE, who's not really around anymore, but we got all these young artists that are doing this kind of certain Bay sound. We used to have the hypey sound, which is very distinctive. And of course, you got the South, Atlanta, and all these places that have very distinctive sounds. And I hope that never goes away. But I'm curious to know, here's my question for MC Lars. How many of those late 90s, early 2000s studio sessions were you in that didn't have air conditioning and the engineer and the producers and the people stopping by were smoking blunts and you were hazy and you're like, oh my God, I got to get some air. But you still stuck in there because you were getting lessons and just, you were engulfed in greatness, man. That's being from here. I was in so many smoky 95-degree studios, just soaking up game, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of like maybe sketchy situations
where
you knew that. Yeah, you knew you were gaining knowledge, which is interesting. When everything's remote, you don't put yourself through that discomfort. Maybe we talk a lot about in this podcast about the hero's journey, right? Like in old school literature, like The Hobbit and like all those fantasy novels where like you go through all these adventures that help you become the person that you are. And you look back and you realize that like there are things that transform you and change you that music opens the door up to, especially touring. Like everyone's got these stories. So it's very interesting to like hear your origin story, how you got there and like what you're working on now. And like, I'm just curious, is there anything you want to plug now that's like coming up we should be checking for?
As far as what I'm up to, I just would love if everybody checked out the Bloodbath Beyond vinyl, grabbed it off kungfuvampire.com and listened to the Bloodbath Beyond album. And then also do the same with Black Heart Machine. Whether you buy a CD or stream it, just listen to it, enjoy it, and compare teenage me and today me. You know what I'm saying? Compare the two, right? And then we're going to be on tour with Tech N9ne April 17th through 22nd and May Day. Anytime I'm touring, my drummer Paxton is with me, okay? Action Paxton is with me. He's in the band. I just like to plug his name when and where I can because he's such an integral part of what I do. And then in June, I'm doing my headlining summer tour, all of June and up until June 30th, which ends in Las Vegas on my birthday, June 30th. That's the night of the Las Vegas show where we're going to have a birthday show. I'm not one to celebrate my birthday, and I need to stop being that way. We're going to celebrate me and Kung Fu Vampire, June 30th in Vegas. And on this June tour, we will be playing music from 23 years of my life, from 2001 or 2 all the way to today. We're going to give you everything in our set.
Dope.
I'm bringing 3 people with me: Aku, Blue, and Reality. BLU dot Aku is AKUU. I hope I didn't butcher the name. And Reality is the number 3. Ality. I wanted to plug them because they're coming out on this tour with me. Great guys from different parts of the country. And man, it's right now we're celebrating 20 years of Kung Fu Vampire. The time has flown by. I feel like my career is still kind of taking off, which is wild. We started really late taking off because we didn't have a family. We didn't have a fan base. We didn't have a group of people who understood Gothic hip hop. You know what I mean? And so it's a beautiful time. And it's nice to, whatever you call it, get flowers, get love, whatever. We just want to get out in front of people, shake hands, give hugs, share stories.
That's what's up. That sounds like a great year, great summer. A lot of cool things. KungFuVampire.com. That is, do you like to send people there mainly? Like, load your Blackheart Machine video right away, which is tight. Where do you want to send the viewers?
I think Instagram is where I'm the most active, daily posting on the story. You know, the posts are great. Instagram, everything of mine is at Kung Fu Vampire.
That's what's up, man. And yeah, I'm just looking at your site now. What I love so much is the consistency of your brand. And it's just so cool to see, like, you're not just an artist who's done well on YouTube. Like, you've been able to master these platforms in a way that's inspiring, man. And I always loved that we did that Slender Man song. That's a jam, man. So, like, it's cool.
Thank you for re-releasing it, by the way. I was a little sad when I saw it go away, but I don't know if you switched distributors or remixes or what happened, but I'm glad you put it back up.
We had there was a thing with the beat. I always wanted to make the beat a little different, so we remastered it and redid it. And it was on TuneCore, now it's on DistroKid. That's a lot of inside baseball, but that's why it's back up. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, any more questions, Snax? Maybe we can wrap it up because we covered a lot.
Yeah, man, I think so, dude. I think we covered like all the questions we wanted to ask, and some of the information came out naturally. So yeah, dude, this has been an amazing interview, Vamp, man. Like, you're a legend and a humble one at that, and just getting started by the sounds of it. So much flavor to come, and like I said, man, that new wave album, I'm looking forward to that in particular, bro.
Thank you so much, you guys. You guys have great questions, and you really brought out parts of me that I haven't talked about in a while, and really, I haven't done a lot of podcasts lately, so I appreciate us diving into the history of Kung Fu, and hopefully we got some more people to understand what I do. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, for sure. Thanks for being down to do this, and we'll keep in touch, man. Hopefully we'll meet up in person.
Man. Shout out to Nerdcore and Underground Hip Hop. I love what you do, bro. I know our audience is slowly now have actually gotten a little more similar and can actually merge more than they could have 15 years ago when I was darker and Nerdcore was more niche. Now the Juggalos and the Nerdcore are going like this. And you're part of why that gap is being bridged, bro.
That means a lot, man. Thank you.
Juggalos love you, dude. I promise you that.
That's tight, man. Thank you. That makes me happy. It's all coming. It's a singularity.
Yeah, man.
That's right.
That's what's up. We'll talk to you soon, homie. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Talk to you soon. Peace. Bye, guys.
Peace.
Peace.